Well, as we come on air this afternoon, parts of the state is dealing with what's left behind from last night's weather system. You see right behind me what people had to deal with, just dangerous conditions until the night. Meteorologist Tracy Bean is joining us from the THV 11 Weather Garden. Tracy, looks like it's still kind of coming down out there. What else could we be on the watch out for today?
It is still raining a little bit. We had that line of storms come through. Believe it or not, that started in northwest Arkansas early this morning and made it all the way through the state by now. So there's some residual rain showers today, as you can see. But good news is we're going to start to see those pass on, and your Halloween trick-or-treating isn't looking too bad. You wouldn't know it by looking outside right now. Still very gloomy out here. Central Arkansas still seeing a few of those showers, like I mentioned, but we will see a bit of clearing here before long, at least for the rain showers. And again, behind that, we're going to still have some clouds, but we received some very needed rain, over an inch in Little Rock, and you can see in Harrison 2.5. So lots of rain fell, and we certainly could use it. And these are the totals since midnight, but we will see those temperatures continue to stay in the 60s. We had our high this morning around 75, I believe is what it was. But as that front comes through, we're going to keep those temperatures nice and cool, and it's not nearly as humid as it was outside this morning. So we'll see a little pop of sun here and there by the time it's time for sunset, really. But then by the time the kids head out, it's going to be nice and spooky for all.
All right, Tracy, thank you. Well, this afternoon, THV 11 is learning of a new effort to present UA Little Rock students with access to cybersecurity training. Attorney General Tim Griffin just announced $1 million is headed to Trojan territory. Griffin says UA Little Rock has one of the nation's top cybersecurity programs, and the money will establish a cyberspace operations research and education center. We'll provide new information on its goal tonight at 5 and 6. In other economic developments, the state of Arkansas will soon have new funding to improve public infrastructure. The Delta Regional Authority is sending over $25 million to 7 states, including Arkansas. It comes from President Biden's infrastructure law and will focus on transportation and flood control. Arkansas's portion of the funding will go to 4 different projects that span across the northern and southern regions of the state. Now, in a statement obtained by our team, DRA federal co-chairman says thousands of families will have improved access to infrastructure, and it will help, quote, improve their quality of life and increase economic opportunities in their communities. Well, shifting your focus now to a project in effect at UCA, where an early warning device is being used to detect narcotics. It's a part of the Sentinel Project. Its primary focus is to tackle the opioid crisis head on by using a true narc device to find illegal drugs. UCA Campus Police is among the groups using the new system and are already calling it a game changer.
In times past, we did have field test kits. It has a level of danger for our officers out there to actually have to physically take a sample of this and put in these field test kits. We can help try to build that database up to see what's not just happening on campus, but also in the wider, Faulkner County, Conway area.
So far, more than 20 devices have been given out, with many more still in stock. You can apply to the Sentinel Project by finding this story on THV11.com. Another issue being tackled is the amount of time teenagers spend looking at their screens. Michael George shares new findings from the CDC in the message being sent to parents.
Teens are spending more time in front of screens in recent years. Now, new findings from the CDC show about half of teens had 4 hours or more of daily screen time.
Research shows actually that social media use is more likely to have harms if it exceeds 3 hours per day, so I think those rates are concerning.
High amounts of screen time have been linked with poor sleep, fatigue, and anxiety and depression. This survey finds about 1 in 4 teenagers with 4 hours or more of daily screen time experienced symptoms of anxiety or depression in the past 2 weeks. Dr. Tamar Mendelson with the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health says parents need to understand what social media use is healthy and unhealthy.
And is it interfering with the day-to-day kinds of activities that promote positive development for young people? So that includes healthy bedtimes, having dinner with your family, spending in-person time with friends, and doing sports and other after-school activities.
Dr. Mendelsohn adds that parents should set boundaries and limits and keep the lines of communication open.
During COVID, I kind of looked at my screen time and I was like, wow, I'm spending more than half of my time awake on my phone. Something needs to change.
This group of teens is part of the Luddite Club, formed at some New York City schools, named after a 19th century movement opposing industrialization. Former teacher Amanda Hannah McClear is now making a documentary about the teens' commitment to kick their phone habit.
When there's no phones around at a Sunday meeting, they are drawing, painting,
helping teens develop more connections in real life. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, moving now to a major health alert. Pediatricians in Arkansas are noticing a spike in pneumonia cases, and your child could risk having an infection without even knowing. As we slowly approach the winter season, it means the chance for infection is on the rise. As for pneumonia, the state of Arkansas has seen a spike of people with the illness. After speaking with local doctors, we learned walking pneumonia is also raising eyebrows, as it can be diagnosed when people are infected but aren't showing symptoms.
But kids who are having or adults who are having more this persistent, slow, indolent, progressing cough and these slow little fevers and just feeling run down pretty persistently.
It's recommended to always wash your hands, be mindful around other people, and stay at home when you feel under the weather. Well, you may be in the Halloween spirit, but the last thing you want to be is sued. John Shumay explains what to be wary of to avoid a lawsuit.
When the trick-or-treaters come calling, the last thing you want is for it to become trick-or-trippers on your sidewalk.
If you know you have a defective condition that kids and their parents might be walking over, put up a sign, put up a cone, do something to alert people to that if you can't otherwise light it.
Besides eliminating tripping hazards, attorney Bob Daly says dogs are an issue.
When someone comes to the door, they get quite excited.
And he says don't assume my dog would never.
People are coming to the door, ringing the doorbell, knocking on the door, dressed as vampires, witches, clowns, and the like. It can put a dog in a state of anxiety, and even I think a normal, gentle dog who's in a state of anxiety might be at risk, for biting out of fear.
So you might want to put Fluffy in a back room with some music playing or the TV on. Or move your candy distribution center to take the dog and the tripping hazards out of the picture.
You might want to consider moving it out to the front of your steps so that people don't have to walk.
Daly says homemade treats should be avoided.
I think that's where, any potential risk of food poisoning liability might be.
And he adds, be especially careful behind the wheel.
Children 4 to 8 years old are about 10 times more likely to be hit by a vehicle during the trick-or-treating hours than otherwise.
Well, in a game that had baseball fans on the edge of their seats, it wasn't an easy win for last night's World Series winner. We're talking about the matchup against the Dodgers and Yankees. Stay with us. Just ahead, we relive the game and share what it took to clinch a big win.
We've got a lot of rain still out there, lingering just a little while longer, but we've got a nice Halloween forecast coming up for all the trick-or-treaters. Stay with me. We'll have more coming up in just a few minutes.